Hi, I'm Brandon, a paramedic and flight nurse here in Texas. What kind of call scares you? And when I say scares you, I'm not talking about a close call on the highway working a wreck scene or being involved in an active shooter scenario. I'm talking about those calls that evoke a little bit of fear and emotion, more so than your run-of-the-mill ground level fall or interfacility transfer. We hear it over and over. Oh, kids scare me, or OB-GYN calls scare me. Why are there certain calls that evoke more fear than other calls, and why does it have to be this way? I use the pediatric call as an example because that was me for many years. Unless you work full-time in pediatric transport or a specialty care transport, it does make sense that some calls are going to scare us more than others or make us more nervous. And it's simply because we haven't been exposed to them very often. So what's the solution? Well, it's pretty simple. We focus on these areas with supplemental learning opportunities. Remember when you got out of EMT school or paramedic school and you thought you knew it all? Well, think between then and now and how much you've learned since then. This is why it's so important to be a lifelong learner. So here are 3 reasons why it's important to never stop learning. The first reason is that science is always changing. Only in the last few years have we truly begun to embrace the science to the point that it affects our clinical practice in EMS. So where are some areas that we've seen the changing science affect our clinical practice? Look around, you'll see many services not transporting on backboards anymore. Why? Because there was no evidence to support it. We don't give everyone high flow oxygen anymore. Why? Because the science doesn't support it. These, along with other examples, are perfect reasons to evolve your practice with the science. The second reason that learning is so important is that it actually keeps your brain healthy. There was a study back in 2010 from the University of California at Irvine that showed that the more you learn, the healthier your brain is. And so just like we need to work out our muscles or our cardiovascular system, it's equally important to maintain good brain health, especially in EMS. We are used to getting by on little sleep, sometimes poor eating habits, and other variables that can affect us, so taking care of our brain is very important. And the number 3 reason why learning is so important is that we owe it to our patients. Now, this is probably the most important reason to keep learning. But in order to be an expert at something, you have to make an effort to learn. And so continued education after paramedic school, keeping up on the latest science, you owe it to your patients as a provider and a patient advocate. So when someone you care about is having an emergency, who do you want to respond? Do you want the crew who may be scared because they haven't studied enough on that subject? Or do you want the provider who's confident and knowledgeable? We know that knowledge builds confidence, and we have to be confident providers even on the scariest of calls. So remember, it's up to each of us to be a self-directed learner. It's part of being responsible, and it's part of being a professional.